Yeah, I got a few people signed up actually.
Good.
Okay, that's actually what we're going to talk about.
Good, good.
Okay, heard about the College Poll Workers Program, and I want to know what exactly is your goal with that program?
We're working with the Baker Center, as you well know. They've got a grant from the EAC, the Election Assistance Commission, and what we're going to do is hire 200 college students as poll workers on the election. The Baker Center is helping the video, which you're familiar with. It's at worktopolls.com, is that right?
Oh yeah,
Worktopolls.com. You can go there, you can take watch the video. It's about a 15 or 20-minute video. There's 3 of them, and then you answer questions, and if you pass, then you can go to the training session that we're having, and then you work the election, which is Tuesday, November the 2nd.
Okay.
And you get paid $150. That includes the training and working an election. You got to work all day. You can be there from 7:30 in the morning until 8:30, maybe later at night. So it's a long day, but it's fun. And what we've done in the past, we go to high school and recruit workers, and I've got some officers, people in charge of the election, who are in their mid-20s now. I've always been reluctant to recruit university students as workers because it takes a while to train somebody. They really don't get good at it for a few elections, and then they're gone. You know, half of them leave or more. So with the money from the EAC, what this allows us to do is we do the training here, and if you move to Atlanta or you move to California, that's okay. You can work the elections there because it's essentially the same. I mean, a provisional voter is a provisional voter whether you're in Minnesota or whether you're here.
Right.
And registration processes are a little different, but the same idea prevails, that you want to let the people vote who are supposed to vote and stop the people from not voting who aren't supposed to vote. And so now it allows us to use the university students as workers here, and even if they just work one election, you know, that's okay. We're hoping that they'll go somewhere else and volunteer, and it'll work out good for everybody.
Okay. And you said this was funded by EAC. Who
Yes.
exactly is EAC, and who is in charge of getting that grant?
Well, it's a federal group. It's a federal agency that works on election assistance. They provide assistance to local counties that run elections and state parties too. This is one of the things they do, a training thing, and it's probably maybe the most important thing that we do at our office is training the workers. I don't run the elections. It's the 500 people who get up, you know, early in the morning and go run these elections that make it work. So, and it's being administered through the Baker Center. They're the ones that are handling it all. So,
and what is your role with this program? What are you specifically doing?
well, my biggest the component that the Election Commission is going to do is to train them, is to have the training class, and then deploy them to the different, tell them which precincts they're going to be working in. There's 94 precincts in Knox County, and we're going to try as much as we can to put people where they live, but it's not always possible.
Okay.
So that'll be our job. And then the Baker Center is handling the recruitment, and they've done the video, they've done the website, which, did I mention, it's worktopolls.com?
Yes, worktopolls.com. And I guess, how involved do you plan to be since you have other activities going on with that? Is that going to be like a minor thing you just check up on, or?
Well, we're going to be very involved in the training part of it, so
Okay.
we check in on it. It's not I've got a whole checklist of other things I have to do, but
Okay.
we're involved with it. I talk with Dr. Amy Gibson all the time about it. Yeah,
And,
once or twice a week. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention: you have to be a registered voter in Knox County to participate.
You have to be a registered voter?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then what is actually the average age of a poll worker, since you all are going for the college age?
According to the USA Today, the average age is 72 years old for a poll worker in
72.
America. Right.
So let's switch gears here, different interview. Thank you, Brandon.
Thanks.
I didn't know you were involved in that program, but that added something to it. And this young woman here, her name is Maggie, who's up next.
Average.
Oh, they're like 85 where I'm from.
Well, every time you see a 30-year-old, that means there's.
I don't see it. I don't see them where I'm from. They don't.
More 80-year-olds.
It's a bunch of
Okay,
it's a bunch of
Maggie,
retirees where I live.
A tissue, everybody. Somebody have a tissue. Maggie.
How you doing?
Good.
Good.
Okay, in what ways can Knox County get to know you as the administrator, and what public events do you, as the administrator, attend and kind of get your ideas out there?
Sure. Well, you know, you can always come down to the courthouse and see me. I'm easy to find. Just get on the trolley, and there we are. We're in the old courthouse. I don't know where the new one is, but we're in the old brick building that was built in 1830, 1850. I do go out a lot. Yesterday we were at the National College on Kingston Pike. They called us out for voter registration. I go to any Rotary Club or Lions Club that invites me to talk about the election process. We go to every high school every year and register voters. We're required by law to register voters, but we also recruit workers, and that's been good for us to find younger workers. So, you know, I've been on TV shows and just, you know, whatever it takes. We also have a website that's got a ton of information. It's knoxvotes.org or .com or .net. It's Knox Votes, KNOX Votes, and we've got everything from election schedules for next year's elections. We've got election results going back to when I was appointed in 2003 and forward. We have information about getting an absentee ballot mailed to your house, procedures at the polling place, just a ton of information. So I try to be out in the public as much as I can. Come to UT classes.
Okay. And you said you go to high schools. Do you do lectures and classes there in high schools? And
We have sometimes, usually what we do is we just set up in the cafeteria and register people to vote. Although I have upon occasion, and we'd like to have a program, it's hard to do everything, where we go out and explain to kids why they should vote, even if it's just a 20-minute talk about why they should vote, because, you know, the companies spend billions of dollars a year telling them which tennis shoes to buy and which cola to drink, but I don't know if anybody's ever explained to them why they should vote until somebody does. Their parents do, and studies prove that kids whose parents vote, and the ones who don't, because nobody's telling them why they need to vote. So I do try to get out there, but I don't do enough of that.
Ran out of stuff, huh? We're gonna switch interviewers, we're gonna go to this guy. You know where to go from here? How about, who wants to step in? Who's a volunteer? You're a volunteer interviewer. The spirit of the university is volunteering. Very good. Very good. All right. You guys haven't covered some of the ground I hoped you would. There's a few things I might pick up at the end here.
Uh-oh.
Rush Dixon.
Russ.
Rush,
Yep.
next.
All right. In a recent August 18th article from Knox News Sentinel, you were misquoted, and they covered that on the September 1st clarification. The argument over changing city cycles and how that would change the taxpayers' money, like how much money they have to pay for an election.
Yeah.
You were quoted as saying it would save every dime, but change that to substantial. What is a substantial change in your mind, or that you're hopeful for?
Right. I don't think it was a direct quote. It was the editorial page said that it would save every dime. And that's just not accurate. It would save probably $100,000 per election cycle. It costs us about $125,000 to run a city election. And if you took the city elections, which are in the odd years, they're standalone elections, and coupled them with the even year county or state or federal elections, then it would save a lot of money because we've already got the workers there, you know, we've already got the machines deployed.
Right.
But there would still be costs involved. They have to run separate ads. It would increase our training costs. And of course, we'd have to charge part of it back to the city just because, you know, I mean, there's no reason they should get to run elections for free. There's no reason that the county should pay for everything and the city pay for nothing. It'd be like if a guy across the street said, will you give me a ride downtown? Well, sure, I will. But if you're going to give him a ride every day, then you expect him to chip in for gas. And that's the way it would be with the city. But their costs would go down considerably. It would save them probably $200,000 a year.
Okay.
Well, every other year.
Right.
Yeah.
Besides, like, economically, is there any other advantages? Would there be a bigger voter turnout, you think, since they're already going to state and county elections, thinking about that?
There may well be. There probably would be a larger turnout. You know, you can argue the pros and cons of it, and we don't really have a position on it. We're going to do whatever the charter tells us to do. One of the advantages, of course, would be the savings of cost. One of the disadvantages would be is you're going to have a ballot that starts, I mean, imagine running for city council when there's president on the ballot. There's president, there's senate, there's state senate, there's state house, there's a couple of questions about this, that, and then you get all the way down here. And then it's going to be very confusing, too, if you have it with the county commissioners. You're gonna have partisan county commissioners, and then at the bottom of the ballot, you're gonna have nonpartisan city council people. People are gonna get confused, I think. But, on the other hand, you can make the argument that, you know, let people come in and vote for everything and then go home, not have constant elections. Because the way it is now, we have 3 elections every year, so.
So you personally, do you like the odd numbered, or would you like to maybe try and transition to an even numbered cycle like the other two?
Well, personally, I like the way it is, and nobody is gonna do public policy based upon, you know, what the administrator thinks would be best for his office, right? You're gonna do it based upon what's best for the community. But what I like about it is that I don't wanna go 18 months without an election. People think, well, it's extra work to have the city election. I don't mind the extra work, because our workers, we have a very unusual business we're in. My job is dependent upon 250 grandmothers, okay?
Right.
People have to know provisional, fail-safe, what to do, cancel booth log, all these procedures. And if we only have elections every 2 years, then it's gonna be difficult. But the way it is now, we have elections all the time. So we use the city elections to train workers and to train officers. What we'll do is we'll bring a county officer in to be the officer, and we'll bring a new officer in and let them work together in the city election.
Right.
And then for the big presidential elections, we're ready, because we've got all these people. But that's just a tactical thing on my part. Nobody's gonna base public policy upon that, so we need to do what's best for the community. And that's not up to me to decide. It's up to people like
It was, but I'm,
commissioners and the like.
That's all.
so you got,
Yep.
all right. Any other volunteers for interviewing? Anyone else want to step forward? No? Okay. I think you pretty much covered all I wanted to. Let me go in here and play interviewer for just a few seconds, though, okay? In a nearby county, we recently had a tied election. Have you had a nightmare about that?
Well, you know, I thought the administrator there did a good job. He said that's what it is, and that's the way it is. You know, I mean, some days you're gonna have close elections, and some days you're not. They handled it well.
Procedurally, what happens if for God forbid, an election in Knox County ever tied?
Well, people think that there's an automatic recount if it's close or if it's a tie. Actually, you've got to go to a judge, and he may call for a recount based upon a tie, but he doesn't have to, or he or she doesn't have to. What we would do is go back and check. Well, actually, all of our vote totals are automated, so procedurally, you just go on as if it was a regular election. And then it says in the state law what happens. The county commission at that point chooses who the winner is. So.
And as I recall, what happened in that county is that was a heavily Republican county, and the Republican nominee was the one who got their vote. No surprise.
No, it was a Democrat, actually.
Was it?
Yeah, it was the guy that they chose earlier.
Oh, there's a surprise.
Yeah, it was. Now, there was some concern. They wanted the new commission
Right.
was more heavily Republican, so they wanted the old commission to vote on. That's what.
Sounds like a lawsuit still brewing on that one.
Well, there is a contest of the election.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever had any of your elections contested?
No, the first election I did was a Farragut election in 2003, and it was an 8-vote difference. And the candidate called me, and he said, I told him honestly, I said, I've not heard of any discrepancies that would cause us to have a recount, and they let it go at that, so.
Whose
Knock on
job is it to determine ballot eligibility? Do you as an administrator pass on that, or is that the job of the election commission?
That's an excellent question.